Perfect. Okay, so yeah, guys, like I mentioned, the goal for today is, and a lot of the feedback that we've been getting is around like our content strategy and what content we can produce to ultimately bring on more clients. So I had a huge epiphany, and in my my close to 5 years of running our business. Like I've very seldomly and rarely had like major epiphanies, and the major one that I had recently was just about how can I provide more value to my audience, like how like my buyers, my sellers, and the agents that we coach and mentor. And we are just going all in on content because like if you think about it this way, a lot of really successful people, they invest in what's called compounding assets, right? So like if you look at like Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett, like their big thing is like not doing like your individual stocks, but just putting as much money into the S&P 500 and letting it compound over an extended period of time, right? Or if you look at like the average 9 to 5 worker, you're typically looking at like your 9 to 5 job, which is building money for you now, and you also have your investing in stocks and your mutual funds and all that, which is building your future and your financial independence for you later. And when you think about content, it's essentially the same thing, right? You're investing in a compounding asset. And if you do it consistently and you make those consistent deposits, whether it's daily, weekly, whatever it is, you're investing into your future self, because that future self is going to thank you for the efforts that you put in today, because your business, your livelihood, it's going to inherently grow. And these platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, it starts to reward you for the consistency, and it starts to compound, right? So like if you haven't had content or you haven't done it frequently, like we'll get into it today, but like obviously more is always going to be better, and more is always going to serve you more. Okay. So yeah, let's dive in here. I wanted to go through some of the frameworks that I've personally instilled in essentially what we're incorporating, what I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years, as well as what tactical like frameworks and information that you can start implementing for the best results here. Okay. So right, again, going back to my comments about compounding assets, like content is truly like the highest form of leverage when it comes to attracting clients and building your brand, right? However, it's for us, it's the most time consuming, right? Between writing it out, between doing the research, the scripting, the editing, and the posting, it can take a significant amount of time. But it needs to be treated as a form of prospecting, because it is. And like I mentioned, it's the highest form of leverage of prospecting, and it's going to compound and serve you better in the future, right? But again, you're likely not going to see any results from at least at the very minimum 3 months, but usually you start taking the major strides around month 6 to 12. Okay. But you also want to produce content for the types of clients that you want to attract, right? So if you're in a buyer's market, you want to focus predominantly on buyers, because it's ultimately going to serve you better as a business owner. And this can be typically content around like relocation and investing and buyer's guides and city and neighborhood education as well, right? So if you're in a seller's market, it's going to benefit you more to focus on listing related content. So this is stuff like market updates, seller's guides, and signaling posts. So we're going to get into all the examples of this here in a second. Well, first we'll go into like the different types of content and how to utilize them effectively. Okay. So first we have like our short form content, and this is essentially like your 60 to 90 seconds across like Instagram, TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. And these have what we call a wide reach, right? You're going to get in front of more people a lot quicker, especially if you're doing it on a daily basis. You're going to like these platforms tend to push a lot more. Okay. But because the time is more restricted, and TikTok has expanded, like I posted a 7-minute video the other day. So you can get away with a little longer form content on TikTok now. But because, like, again, your time is more limited, the information is more broad, right? But you just want to, it's more of like a volume play, right? Whereas with long form content, you're typically wanting to do anywhere from 5 to 20, and then once you start getting into like podcasting stuff like that, you do like 30 to 60 minutes, right? You have less organic reach initially, but your information goes more in depth because you've done the research or you're doing an interview, and it allows for time of like elaboration on whatever the subject is of that content. It really allows you to develop more of a relationship on a deeper level, right? And the best part about long form content is that it's evergreen, right? And kind of going back to my comments about compounding assets, right? The more that you produce, the more that it's out there, like prospecting for you. And when you have 20, 30 videos that are out there prospecting for you, it starts like taking back time of the time that you had to take for making calls or knocking doors or doing all that fun stuff, right? We also have our posts. So this would be like your posts on Facebook, on Instagram, and more like the still image and video posts. And what I like to use my post for is like obviously like just sold, just listed, under contract, those types of posts to kind of just add social proof and credibility. But then you also, like, I like to use what's called signaling posts. Okay, and what signaling posts are is you essentially address like the different subgroups, different niches, and you advise them based on where the market is trending. Like for us, it's an increasing market. We're in a really hot sellers market right now. And you want to advise them on whether it makes sense to buy, whether it makes sense to sell, or whether it makes sense to wait, right? Because you're going to like you're going to educate your audience and the people, because again, everyone's going to fall under that specific situation, whether they're a first-time buyer, investor, upsize or downsize or whatever it is. And nothing's going to build trust more, especially like as a real estate agent, than if you tell someone that it's going to make more sense to wait, like wait 3 months, wait 6 months to sell or buy. Okay. And then you're also doing your research, prior to writing it out and posting. And really just having that authenticity in communication, and really just treating posts as casual conversations. And the reason that I love signaling posts is essentially what I do every time I have like a conversation with a buyer, seller, investor, whatever it is, and they have like a question or a reservation, I will go and I will write out like my thoughts and how it pertains to that question and the way that the market is trending and whether it makes sense for them to buy, sell, or wait. Okay. And then I'll make the content around that post, because it's going to help me navigate that conversation the next time it comes up. And then if you post it onto your Instagram, your Facebook, your social media, you're answering those same questions that the prospects that fall under that same subgroup or niche are going to have. Right. So it kind of again has that compounding effect. You're dealing with or you're answering the questions of the current prospect that you're working with, but you're also answering the same question to anybody in your feed or in your audience that are likely going to have those same questions. Okay. And then we have our stories, right? And stories are for me, especially as of late, like I've just been putting everything on my stories. Like I like to use like food, fitness, inspiration, and then like my family, my girlfriend, and memes, just to kind of make things funny, right? Though what's really, really important to understand, guys, is like we are in the real estate business, but we also want to establish relationships and an emotional connection with the people that we want to work with in the future, right? Because again, people love to buy, or yeah, sorry, people hate being sold to, but they love to buy with their friends, right? And if you come across as just a real estate agent, like people are just going to attribute you as just the real estate agent, right? Whereas if you come across as like someone that they actually want to hang out with, that's funny, that does the human stuff, like hangs out with their family, that eats food, that enjoys fitness, you're going to attract a lot more people. And when I made this switch like the amount of like positive reception, the amount of people I had reaching out to me, like giving me compliments, stuff like that, like it skyrocketed, right? Because initially early on, like all of my content was focused on my business. And like it's really, really important to kind of hold that balance of both, right? I usually like to keep about an 80-20 balance. It is a little bit more right now because we are in a hotter market. But again, like really don't sleep on the content around like your personal stuff, because again, people want to do business with people, right? Any questions, guys, on the types of content to produce? Betty, Caitlin, good to see you.
Are you? Oh, how are you?
I'm doing well, Caitlin. How are you?
Thought I was on mute. I'm good, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. What are you currently doing for content production, Caitlin?
I'm currently doing nothing for content production, if I'm being honest.
Caitlin, what's going on?
It's just, overwhelm, I guess, is with the whole all of Instagram and
Mhm.
like every time I'm on the app, it's
Yeah,
frustrating and I don't know. I'm not really focusing on being on the internet right now. I'm really
yeah.
trying to stay away from it, which is okay because honestly, I actually have more leads right now. Like I'm just in a state of overwhelm. Um,
Okay.
so I'm focusing on other things. I know this is definitely on the plate, but I'm uh not there right at this moment.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, we'll discuss how we can start looping it in. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
perfect. Betty, what are you currently doing for content production?
Barely, but yeah, I have a company posting for me, little things about real estate market updates and stuff, but nothing major. That's
Mhm.
mostly on Instagram. I had maybe a couple videos on YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
And the same thing on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so and it's more just kind of like static posts and
Yeah,
yeah, just like market updates, just listed, just sold, stuff like
yeah. I haven't even been doing listings and sold. I probably should.
that.
I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
done any sold or listed, just sold or whatever.
Yeah,
No.
you want to do it, Betty, because it adds social proof, it adds credibility for anyone that does come across your profile, right? Like
Yeah.
and social proof is essentially just like what it is. It's proof that you're good at your job and you're helping clients get across the line.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like the static posts are good, right? But they don't have any organic reach. So you won't
Right.
really attract in a new audience. It's just kind of for your existing follower base and audience where you can really start taking massive strides and seeing those bigger steps in your business is for doing things that give you what's called organic reach. And what organic reach is it gets you in front of new people, new eyeballs, new potential clients to bring in more followers and ultimately grow your business and get more content in front of. Okay, and that's mostly on these platforms now. This is all done through video. So I would very strongly challenge you to start incorporating some of these like some of the like video content into your marketing and prospecting plan. And we're going to go into what exactly, like what posts you can start doing that are going to serve you at the highest. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, Julio, what are you currently doing for content production?
I just do the social proof.
The social. Okay.
Yeah, I don't put like I don't have my face much on anything, tell you the truth. So
Man,
I I I, I
gotcha.
I know that's I know that's a problem. So,
You're a
but like
good-looking guy, Julio. You gotta get
yeah,
out
you know
there.
what it is? It's like I mentioned it. Like I'm pretty introverted. Like I'm
Mhm.
not. I'm quiet in nature, and even like I've never even opened up TikTok. I don't even know what it looks like. The Instagram, Facebook thing. Like I have like I mean, you can browse it, maybe for tomorrow when we meet again, but like,
Mhm.
it's it's more just the proof. So I know that's kind of my, um, like, I know I have to overcome that.
Yep.
One of the things I was thinking was just because like I am more like serious, like my personality, and more serious than light and fun
Mhm.
on like, social things, I guess you could say. That's why I was really thinking of going, like, trying out the YouTube thing, because I feel like with YouTube, it's like I can talk to the Burr method. I can, like, it could be more kind of
Yeah.
professional almost, and because I'm not the type of guy that's gonna talk about best restaurants in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like that's not me, and so I don't want it to come across like not genuine either. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just something. Yeah, long story short, I need to probably overcome that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like like probably every agent, and I've chatted with over 400 or 500 agents now over the last 5 years. And everyone I talk to has the same reservation, and so did I. I'm an introverted person by nature. Like I would much rather like sit and write than go out on like sales calls and stuff like that, right? And it's funny. Like I had one guy this morning, and then another one of my friends yesterday reach out, and he's like, man, like you've just been crushing it with content lately. You're a natural. And I laughed at that because I was like, you know what, man, like if you saw me when I first started, the last thing you would say is I'm a natural, right? Like
Yeah,
I will share some of my first videos at some point. I have to do a bit of digging, but man, like the amount of like takes I had to take, the amount of swearing at myself that I was doing, and then like just yeah, just all the like the mistakes and like my stoicness. But it like I know we chatted about this last week, but it becomes second nature the more frequently that you do it. It's just about getting over that first hump of like, okay, you know what, I went through the process, I can do it. And then as you continue doing it and you get more reps, it just yeah, like it's like riding a bike. It becomes pretty easy.
yeah,
So yeah, the one thing I would say though, Julio, like we'll go into like what your first post should be, like what you can start gearing your content towards. But I would challenge you, like don't get caught up in the trap of like overthinking it and thinking it has to be perfect, right? Because if you even look at the content we're producing right now, it's far from perfect, but I know the volume is what's going to serve me better, right? Because we're doing anywhere from 3 to 7 posts a day across all platforms. We're just going to continue increasing that, right? And what later on, what's going to serve you better is like investing in more like better equipment and like a video editor and stuff. But there's so many apps, so many AI tools now that can do your editing for you, that can caption it, and make it look like at least up to the standard of what a lot of these short form and long form platforms reward. But the key thing right now is the volume, especially when you're starting out. So in terms of like content frequency, guys, like the first thing I'll say is you're like the more the better, right? And like for us, I'm averaging between 3 to 5 stories per day. I'm at about one short form per day right now. We're looking to get that up to 2 to 3. And then we're doing like one signaling post or one short form piece of content per day. Okay. And then now, like for long forms, so this is like your YouTube videos. Like one is good, and you'll do okay with one, but YouTube really starts to reward you when you get to like the two long form video per week, right? And so this is stuff like your 5 to 20 minute videos on like education, property tours, community tours, market updates. And another one that I've seen work really well, that we're going to start incorporating is like client interviews, right? To interview them on like the process, their relationship and working with you. And again, that kind of adds more social proof and credibility to your brand. And like I mentioned, just don't overthink it, guys. I see and I like, this is myself included, like I'll get caught up in the trap of just like thinking it has to be perfect, like, you know, bringing on an editor and, you know, doing everything. Your people are going to attract more to you, even if it is imperfect, right? Like I've had people reach out and call me on some of my mistakes, but they are generally attracted more when it's more genuine and less polished. And like your imperfect action is always going to serve you better than perfect action. Okay. So next, like the big question is like, okay, what should be my first 30, you know, first 30 posts, right? And the main intent and the reason why like we have this framework for your first 30 posts is really just to create a foundation for a couple of things, right? First is like giving you like pieces of content to produce around, but also giving you the foundation to build your business on, right? Because around these pieces of content, you're establishing talking points, strategies, and principles of the business that will arm you to have these conversations with prospects in the future and kind of guide them on where you want them to go and what decision makes the most sense for where they're currently at, right? And this obviously, like just like with any piece of content in your brand, it starts to compound, right? So if you spend the time and you do the research and you write it all out on that specific topic, and then you can convey it on a video, you're going to have internalized it and you're going to be able to convey it the next time it does come up on conversation with a prospect. And every single one of these, after I've created it, like, has come up in conversation with a prospect. And I always thank myself. I always say like, hey, thank God, like I actually spend the time to kind of dive into this, because especially like when you're dealing with buyers, sellers, investors, these are like the sure pieces of sure pieces of information and questions that your prospects are going to have, right? And when you're knowledgeable on this already before you have these conversations, it's really going to position you as the knowledgeable agent that they can trust, right? And that's kind of where we go into signaling posts. But a couple of examples, right, as it pertains to buyers, sellers, and investors that you can start incorporating is content around like how to determine cash flow, right? Like how to calculate like net operating expenses over like rent and market cap and stuff like that. The BRRRR method, how investors can utilize that to get forced appreciation. Pros and cons of moving to your city. Another one that works really, really well is like reasons not to move to your city. The controversial tends to work pretty well. The like how other markets influence your market, right? How to look for and set up an Airbnb, why condos are a good buy, why single family is a good buy, RSPs versus rentals, cash flow or equity, right? And the list goes on, right? And when you start researching all of these in detail, you'll start to be able to convey it a lot better when you're navigating these conversations with prospects. Okay. So would you guys like this list of content ideas? Perfect. Caitlin, Betty.
Yes.
Please.
Okay, awesome. Also, guys, if you haven't yet, please join the Agent School Slack channel. It's just our method of communication for all of our Agent School members. It's where we post all of our content. It's where we make all of our major announcements. So Betty and Caitlin, I will send out the invite. I'll put it here in the Zoom chat just so you guys have it. There you go.
Yeah, I'm a member. Agent School?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think you're in the school platform there, Betty.
This is different?
Yeah. So this is Slack. So Slack is our communication tool. So if
Oh,
you ever have like any direct questions, you can reach out to me and the team.
okay.
Yeah, perfect. Caitlin joined. There you go. Awesome. All right, guys. So now let's go into more like the personal content, right? And kind of like I was elaborating on previously, it's important to understand that we're in the business of people and not real estate, right? And although the end product of what we sell or what we buy, it is real estate, right? We always want to focus on the person that we're working with, right? And everyone likes shopping with their friends, right? And it makes the world a difference when we're working with someone that is so similar to us. You know, we share common interests and hobbies and mindsets, right? Whereas when you go with someone that you don't connect with, and can be like a bit of a tough client, right? Caitlin, how many times have you worked with like with a friend or someone from your friends or family? And how well did that transaction go over someone that came through like an online means with someone that was a little bit colder?
Well, I've had a handful of like personal connections be clients, and they've all gone fairly smoothly. Like I would say
Mhm.
I've handled both equally well. It's easier to close a family member. Like once they call you and say, "Hey, can you list my house?" It's a
Yeah.
done deal
Mhm.
versus, trying to get a listing from someone
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just because like that relationship and that trust just hasn't been really developed yet, right? So you
Right.
have to like put in that additional time and work and effort just to get that trust up to where it needs to be. Because again, like you're dealing with people in quite arguably one of the largest transactions that they're going to do in their life, and they want to do it with someone that they trust, right? And someone that they think is going to best serve them, right? What about you, Julio? Like how have you found like working with like friends and family, or someone like you're really sharing common interests with? How have those transactions gone opposed to like someone that you like some of your cold leads that you deal with or your online leads?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I'm dealing with someone cold, like I'm working with someone now that I'm listing their property in 2 weeks, and
Mhm.
they're a cold lead, and I
Nice.
feel like I'm always on my tippy toes. Like I'm always worried that I just put a deposit for staging. I'm worried that they're gonna even though we have a contract, they might back out.
Yeah.
I'm cautious in terms of speaking pricing. So I feel like it just I wouldn't say that it necessarily uh, the client at the end, when it's all said and done, is typically just as happy either way.
Mhm.
But I think it's um, yeah, more the stress level of going through the journey
Yeah.
along with someone cold. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said that because yeah, it can sometimes feel like you're walking on eggshells sometimes, right? Or and if
Yeah.
you say the wrong thing, it's or say something that in retrospect would be benefiting them, but it's something that they don't want to hear. They might just take their business and shop somewhere else, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so no, I'm completely with you there, man. But again, you can also get people through online leads. I'm working with a girl right now. We're helping them buy and sell, and she like me and her like we've become almost like the best of friends over the last 2 weeks. So you never know, right? But generally speaking, you're going to have a better time working with people that you know that are most similar to you and share your common hobbies, interests, and mindsets over someone that is, doesn't know you. Okay.
Totally.
So the way that we can kind of help establish that connection without doing it directly, again, is through our content, right? We want to show that there's a human behind our brand and that we're more than just a real estate agent, right? But we're a friend that they can connect with on more of a personal level, and we can kind of hit those emotional cues as well as those more like formal business objective cues, right? So what I've like incorporated into my marketing is like essentially food, fitness, inspiration and motivation, memes, and like funny stuff, right? And then like pets, kids, and family, right? So for your food, like post your meals, your meal prepping, your like the outcomes and the health benefits of everything that you're doing. If you're going out to a restaurant, like share the experience, right? Then fitness, like I made a post about this a couple of weeks ago, but like over the end of last year, like I was working so much that I put on a little bit of weight, and now I'm back in a cut, right? So I'm kind of losing that weight again. And I've been on that journey, and I've lost a good chunk of it, but there's still a little bit more to go. And when I told that story about that, like essentially what happened, why I got there, and then where I'm at now and where I'm planning to go, like that was probably one of my best performing pieces of content, amount of like relating to the amount of people that reached out, that liked it, right? Because again, they want to connect with you. They want to see that you're demonstrating dedication, even in your smaller actions, and it inspires other people, and people resonate with that, right? Inspiration and motivation, again, tie those into your like your fitness or your diet stories. I'm a big Alex Hormozi guy. Like if you don't know who Alex Hormozi is, definitely look him up. He has so much good free content on the internet. And he's just he's such a good character. But like just sharing like motivation for yourself, and why you want to keep pushing the people around you, and then also sharing other inspirational quotes and videos and stuff. Like people resonate with that, and again, it kind of enhances that connection. Memes and funny posts, right? Like I had to add a little bit of character to me, my brand. Julio, I'm kind of like you, right? Where I'm more introverted, and I can be sometimes a little bit like monotone and blunt sometimes. Like I have I have German DNA, so bluntness kind of runs in my DNA. So but like I like to kind of keep it funny, keep it lighthearted. I'm less political, but yeah, like I do see a lot of agents, and even agents in our office, that do like to spark some controversy with their political stuff. And yeah, like if you start, like for the people that like or view your posts, you can also DM, and that kind of boosts visibility on the algorithm. We do something called the Blitz, which is a whole other lesson. But the premise remains the same. You want to keep it fun, you want to keep it lighthearted. And then also show like your pets, kids, and family, right? Again, like the majority of people our age now, they have like either a significant other, kids, pets, whatever it is. And that is like one of the most common things that from a personal level that a lot of us share. So we want to attribute to that emotional connection. And it also reflects that we have like family values, and that's what's going to ultimately bring in buyers and sellers. Okay. So yeah, I'll open up the floor here, guys. Any questions regarding our personal content and our first 30 posts? Caitlin, Betty?
No,
Um,
I have the concept down. I just need to get back to doing it. Like I used to do the personal stuff really well. I have like 1,800 followers, so I was doing it. Promise. Just need to get back on track.
Perfect. Betty?
um, I've signed up with a company that's doing it, so I have to see what how to deliver.
Yeah, so is the company doing your personal content? Because it's pretty hard for a company to do your personal stuff.
Well, just on the business side, not personal. I'm sorry, what was it you offering for the personal?
Yeah, so we were kind of going through like food, fitness, memes, motivation, inspiration, and then pets, family, and kids.
All right. So my children are grown. So I don't know how to do that on a personal level because, they're not with me. My son is married, of course, and my daughter, she's grown doing her thing. Um, Mindset stuff, yes, definitely. I like cats. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I'm camera shy for some reason. I have all kinds of issues. I look at myself, I say, "Oh my God, look at that. I have a bag under one eye and it's keeping me from, doing stuff." So,
yeah, that's okay. You gotta, like, again, you gotta walk before you run, right? But
yeah.
it all starts with taking that first step, right? There is a guy on YouTube, a real estate agent on YouTube, and he is like fully decked out, like from head to toe in tattoo. Like I can't remember his name, but he does so well because that's kind of his brand, right? And if you look at do you know who Michael Strahan is?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, he's
you
on
like,
the morning show.
yeah, exactly. And he has like the big gap between his teeth, right?
Yeah,
And he has the money to get it fixed, right? But he
but
chooses
that's his
not
brand.
to. What's that?
Yeah, that's his brand. People recognize him for that. So, I don't know if you remember Jennifer from Dirty Dancing. When she fixed her nose, she couldn't get a job in Hollywood. Remember, baby? You're too
Exactly.
young, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but exactly, right? Like sometimes our flaws are our biggest senses of inspiration, right? And sometimes people attract to that as well, right? So I wouldn't let that like hinder you from getting out there and getting in front of people, because it's ultimately going to be the personal stuff and the content that you create that's going to attract people, right?
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I challenge you to take, just, take swift but quick action, right? And yeah, just get in front of the camera and just start talking about whatever you want. Even now for me, like if I have a thought in my brain, like I'll just turn the camera on and start babbling off, and not all of it makes it to my Instagram, but again, it's just, again, I'm trying, I'm building a brand, and not everything that I produce is focused on real estate. I'm trying to build something that people that are ultimately attracted to, and having this framework regarding like food, fitness, inspiration, motivation, memes, and then your pets, kids, or family, like those are going to hit those emotional cues that are ultimately going to have people attracted to you. Okay. So moving along here, guys. So we got, yeah, a couple more sections. So everything around what I call signaling content. This is going to be like what really pulls in people from your sphere of influence. Okay, so your audience, this is what's going to pull people in for your real estate, like for real estate clients. Okay. And essentially what signaling content is it speaks to the different niches within real estate. So like your first time buyers, investors, upsizers, downsizers, anyone looking to list, empty nesters, stuff like that. You take those specific niches, you talk to how the market is trending, whether you're in an upwards market or downwards market, and how it affects them, and how, like, when it makes sense for them to buy, sell, or even if it makes sense to wait, right? Because if you tell a prospect on your, like, whether it's over the phone or in your content, that it doesn't make sense for them to buy right now or to sell right now, it's going to build trust with them more than any other agent. Because think about it, guys, like how many times do you see on social media that a real estate agent says, oh, right now is the best time to buy, or right now is the best time to sell, right? Pretty much every day. Like that's every real estate agent's content strategy, because it's true, right? But there's nuance to each of those, and it's like, okay, what is your specific situation? Are you upsizing, downsizing? Like, what are some of your fears? What are some of your objections and reservations? And then how can we navigate it based on your what, like, sub niche you are, where you're at in the market, how the market is going to affect you, and then based on your specific situation, whether it makes sense to buy, sell, or buy or sell now, to wait, or to hold off, right? And then we also, like, what I do specifically is, like, anytime I have like a major question that I start getting asked multiple times, like from a buyer, from a seller, from an investor, like I immediately like just take that time, and I'll be like, okay, I've had this conversation 3 or 4 times in the last couple of days. I need to make a piece of content around this, because it's likely that there is going to be other people on my audience and in the organic sphere that are going to have this same question, right? So I'll take like whatever question, objection, or reservation that they're working with, I'll write out my framework for how I'm going to like hit on specific talking points and navigate them through the conversation. I'll loop in like the macro and microeconomic indicators. Like, so for, as an example, for Calgary, like we have everyone migrating from Toronto and Vancouver. We have people investing from Toronto and Vancouver, and then we have all the immigration. And then I kind of loop that into how it's going to influence their decision. And then I'll make a call to action. And because I take that time to do that, it arms me with the conversations moving forward. And then what I've done with a couple of clients is I'll even send them the video and tell them like, hey, I literally just made a piece of content around this. Watch this, where I chat this through in a little bit more detail. And there's no like bigger flex than being able to send someone a piece of content that can have the conversation for you, especially like when you start getting into long form content, right? Because again, going into the sentiment of building compounding assets, right? If you have something related around the question that they're asking, and you already bought yourself some time if you send them a piece of content that answers the question that they're looking to have answered. Okay. So some of the like buyer focused content that you can focus on, right? So this is like relocation stuff. So this would be like pros and cons of moving to city, what the cost of living is, what price point, like what $800,000 gets you in Toronto, 5 things to know before moving to your city. Another one that does, oh, right there, yeah, top 5 reasons not to move to whatever your city is. You could also do like different community guides, right? So top 5 communities in your city, top 5 restaurants, community tours. Another one that I've seen work really well as well is top 5 schools in city, right? I'll put that in there. Property tours are really good. Although I think that property tours are getting pretty saturated. Like almost every real estate agent on TikTok is doing property tours. You could do like an in-depth buyer's guide, and then signaling posts around that specific demographic. So for investors, you can make a piece of signaling content around like whether like it's better to cash flow or take advantage of the appreciation. For first-time buyers, you can go make a content on whether it makes more sense to buy now or to wait. And then for upsizers or downsizers, one of the common ones that I'm getting lately is like, okay, should I buy first or should I sell first? Okay. So for seller focused content, you want to do like market updates work really, really well. And you can do it around like different products. So different like condos, townhomes, or single family. You could do seller's guides around like the process of listing or how to maximize your home value with like staging, photos, all that fun stuff. And then just create the signaling posts around those specific niches, right? So for sellers, like, should you list now? Should you wait? In an inclining market, it's always going to benefit them to wait. Or like for upsizers, downsizers, same thing. Like, should they sell first or should they buy first? Okay. So to wrap this up, everybody, right? There's so many different pieces of content and frameworks and strategies that you can implement within your marketing strategy with the brand that you're building. Like there's a lot of agents that just focus on property tours. I know a lot of agents that are doing well with just market updates, right? But what's really, really important is the action and the volume and the consistency that sticks with it, right? Because volume is going to push the algorithm to get in front of more people, but the consistency is going to start to compound and serve you later on in the year or next year in your business, right? And again, business, like whether you're in real estate, whether you're in like private equity, whatever it is, it's all about longevity and what we can do to keep our business compounding through our efforts, through our assets, right? And I'm such a strong believer in that video content. It's like investing into like a stock that's compounding more and more over time. And it's proven it in myself and my business multiple times over. And every time that I'm going ham on content, it always comes back. And every time that I stop in content, it always, like, I always see that dip, right? So more action is always better. Sheer volume will always outperform perfection. So be, if you're scared of producing, just be okay with failing forward and stumbling over your videos and your words, right? But like, as I mentioned, as you get more familiar with it, as you get more comfortable with it, you're going to it's going to start flowing more naturally. You're going to be more confident behind the camera, and you're also going to get more efficient with it as well, which means that you can sit down in a 2-hour time span and shoot 5 videos and then have your content for the week, right? But it's like anything. It takes the repetitions. It takes it takes like the mindset, and it takes that mental fortitude. But as you continue to grow, as you continue to progress, and as you get more comfortable with it, your ability to produce content at a higher capacity will increase, and to do it more efficiently will increase. Okay. So that's everything I have for today, guys. I will share the content that attracts clients document and replay in Slack, but I'll open it up for some quick questions. So starting with Betty. Betty, any questions, comments, or feedback from the call here today?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. Did you get some value from the call today?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Super stoked to have you on the call with us, Betty.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Caitlin, any questions, comments, feedback?
No, I don't have any questions on this. I do have something else though. Maybe if we could touch base offline.
Yeah, for sure. Are you able to hop in the initiative call today?
That's at 1.
At 1, yeah.
Yeah, I can. Oh no, I have a listing appointment at 1:30, so I'll be driving.
Okay, perfect. I'll give you a shout later in the afternoon then.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for hopping in. Did you get some value from the call today?
I did. Yeah.
Awesome.
I just needed I need a kick in the pants for the all content creation. So it's just a reminder that I gotta get back on it. So it's a good thing.
Exactly. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I missed all of the last week because it was spring break. So I've got 3 little kids. I was like, there's no way that I can hop on 9:30 calls with these monsters in my house.
Oh yeah, no worries. Perfect. Yeah, Julio, any questions, comments, feedback, my man?
No, I know personally I need to get there, and I know I'm stubborn and it's gonna take me some time. But I think like one of the things I find difficult is like even myself, who's like, you know, when I'm scrolling my Instagram and Facebook, and I feel like I'm annoyed by what real estate agents post.
Mm.
And then that's like when and like there's particular ones that, you know, maybe it works for them, but like it's annoying. Like it's just too much. And that's where I think you know, and maybe they shouldn't care what I think, but I think that could be, and they shouldn't, but and I don't share that with anyone other than my wife, you know. But I think that's where, like, you know, it needs to come from a genuine place. Like I still believe that like it needs to come from a more genuine place. And I saw like your list there, and I went through it, but like there's some stuff there that like it's just not me. Like I wouldn't you know, I wouldn't be that guy that is posting my meals. Like I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be that guy, and I'm not going to enjoy myself doing that. So like I think it's but you know, I'm not trying to make excuses. What I'm trying to say is like I think it's more like finding your path in it and your rhythm in it, and what makes sense to you. And I know that that's out there. I think it's just like it's a matter of, you know, figuring that out. From like at least for myself personally.
Oh, 100%, right? And no one here is telling you to be someone that you're not, right? Because the thing that'll drive people away is faking someone that you're not going to be, right? And even like some of the top producing people on like in real estate and content, like they just produce real estate content, and it's just informational stuff, and that's completely okay. Like I have a buddy here in Calgary that literally just does market updates, and that's his whole content strategy. But it works. Like he did, I think 300,000 or 400,000 in gross commissions last year, right? But if you're looking at it from like the other side too, right? Like you want to be the market and the real estate expert. there's a ton of value in that, but you also want to be the person that that someone wants to work with. And I'll give you another example. One of my like closest and sincere friends, right? He's in real estate, and he doesn't produce any content besides his like just listed and just sold posts, right? But he's also the funniest guy that that I know, that anyone else knows. And every time like we're out at dinner and all that fun stuff, it's like being at a comedy show, right? And everyone loves working with him because of his personality. He's such a genuine guy that people are just like gravitated towards him, right? And I've been out on showings with him when I was in my early days, and I see the way that he operates with his clients, and people just love being around him too, right? So you want to find that balance between like, okay, I want to be somebody that people are attracted to, that people resonate with, right? But you don't want to resonate with everybody, because you're not going to. There's people that don't like me, right? Or my personality, that I don't get along with. There's clients that I haven't jived with, and that's completely okay. You get to a point where you also want to focus on you want to enjoy your day and work with the people that are most like you. And then you also want to bring people in through your real estate education and all the informational content. It's about finding that balance, but finding that balance that works best with you, that speaks to you, but also showcases your mindset and your personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So any other feedback there, Julio?
No other feedback. I mean, one of the things I think it's a little bit different. You'll tell me that. Like, one of the things that I'm gonna start doing is YouTube ads, and I feel like that's kind of my way of getting a little bit of myself on camera. But that's that's probably, I think it's more for a lead gen than it is for content creation.
Yeah, but content production, it's more about building a brand, right? And you have to go into it. It's like in investing, okay? If you're doing investing properly, you don't want to have to pull money out for at least 5-10 years, right? But most people go into it with the thought, like an RSP as an example. If you start investing at 25, like, you're not pulling that money up for 40 years, right? It's not on that extended of a time frame, but it's so obvious when people are doing content for lead generation, right? Because like you can smell the desperation in what they're conveying. Whereas like when you're trying to be someone like genuine and funny and like you're showcasing your personality, and you're kind of disconnected from the result, and you're just trying to be someone of value of substance, people are going to ultimately resonate with that. Would you agree?
Yeah. For me, my mindset was always, and that's why I booked the call with you tomorrow, was always like lead gen. And how do I get more leads? How do I get seller leads? How do I get faster leads? Like, that's that's how I've kind of built my business right now, good or bad. It's work, but now I'm trying to scale, right? So like, that's kind of where I've been at. But I see the point. Like, I think, content is prospecting for you, especially when it's built up when you're sleeping, right? So that's kind of what you want. So I get it, and I understand that for sure.
Awesome.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think, Julio, with the way that you're like taking in other people's content, it can actually be really good. If you're annoyed by another realtor's piece of content, there are clients who would love to work with somebody who's not like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the message is like, so if you're seeing something that like, oh, this message is good, but oh man, I hate how they're presenting it, then you can take the message part of that content and use it as inspiration for yours in your own way of speaking. Like, if you get on camera, especially on stories, just imagine that your phone is your best friend. Like, you're just chatting to somebody.
Exactly.
If you're posting to reels and like static posts, it's a little bit different because you have a broader audience, but stories especially, it's like you're just talking to someone who's in the room with you. And then with that content, the reels and the longer form stuff, if you like what they're saying and you can build on it and make it your own and put your own personality on it, you will attract the people that other stuff repels. And there's lots of
Yeah.
people who hate real estate agents, right? And they hate the way that real estate agents talk. So if you don't talk like that, you know, in that like stereotypical salesy kind of reeks of desperation, then the people will come.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good advice. There's actually someone that I follow that does a lot of content, but it's much more my style. And so whenever I've looked at it, I've always said, okay, like if I'm gonna get in, start doing something like this, and I'm gonna follow what these guys are doing because I know it's working for them, and it's much more in line with who I am and what I want to do, right?
100%. And like the thing I really want to emphasize too, and I'm glad that that Caitlin commented on that. Like there are always there are so many different ways to do social media and to post content, right? But you have to find out, you have to do it what's best for you. And again, like Caitlin said, you want to attract the type of people that you want to work with. And it's just like relationships, right? You I don't know if you guys went through this. I know I definitely did, but like in my early teen years, in my early 20s, like I was such a partier. I was doing a lot of drinking and stuff like that, and that's the type of girl that I was attracting. But then in my later years, like I was like, okay, I want something like a woman of value, right? And I started working on myself, and I ended up attracting a woman of value, right? So you want to be the type of person that you want to attract, and you, like Caitlin said, you want to convey that in your messaging. You want to do that through your content, right? So if you another example, my team leader, Sean, he's like a diehard conservative, right? He's like, I won't work with anybody that's a liberal, right? So he makes all of his content around politics and how much he hates Trudeau, but that works for him. I'm not a political guy. I can work with whoever, right? But yeah, just to wrap up this call here, guys, just like Caitlin said, if there's if you hate that type of realtor, there's going to be other people that hate those types of realtors as well. It's all about just being yourself and just creating content around and being the person that you want to attract.
Okay.
Right. Awesome, guys.
Totally.
Well, I do have to hop off here. We do have our team meeting. Caitlin, we will be in touch. Thanks again for hopping in. And tomorrow is going to be all about sales and conversion. So we will see you tomorrow here at the same time.
Awesome. Thanks, Mason.
See you guys.